So thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. It's our first workshop. We're figuring out how to make it as smooth as possible. Brian, now, are you putting up the slide or do you want to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
And unfortunately, it.
And Brian is muted now, but well, we now live in a Zoom age and technical issues are coming along with everything we do, fortunately, unfortunately. Brian wanted to have a couple of announcements on logistics and operations. So I'll send everyone a link to the Slack channel where we'll be able to do the generic announcements. You will also have this direct link to communicate with us on any issues you have. Also, we decided that we're gonna have 6 teams to present in the final round. So that's kind of like news. Brian, is it anything else we wanted to share?
That was it. Actually, if you can pull up the Foster sponsor slide, that would be great because I can't do it and see anything else on my screen right now for some reason. So yeah, welcome everybody to our first weekly workshop. Thanks for attending. I think you're going to find tonight is going to be a really fun session. As Xenia mentioned, you're going to get access to our Slack workspace where we're setting up a channel just for your teams to use. Some of you won't need this. Some of you already have it. But if you don't have it, we're just putting it out there as an opportunity for you to play around with Slack. If you like it, you may want to just set up your own Slack account and go to work out there. With the free account, there's a restriction on how much of your chat history you can retain. So if you want to use it for the long term, you want to try to upgrade eventually and go all in. But here's a chance to test drive it for free. We would like to really thank our primary institutional sponsor, who is the Foster School of Business. And hopefully everybody is seeing that logo on the screen right now. They have just been a wonderful partner in every way, and we can't thank them enough for their support. Tonight's presentation is the first of 4 weeks. You've received information about all 4 in your orientation packet. If any teams have not received their orientation packet, or if your primary contact has not distributed it to you, please let me know. We'll get you squared away there. Tonight's, whoops, tonight's presenter.
Just left the room.
I just stepped away. Tonight's presenter is Leif Hansen from Spark Interactive, with decades, literally decades of experience in the space of helping organizations with ideation and innovation and injecting a lot of fun and love into their team culture to figure out whatever it is they're trying to figure out and make it a reality. I think I'll probably just leave it there and let you take it away, Leif.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brian and team. And thank you everybody else for showing up tonight. I know we probably all, how many of you have already been on some kind of Zoom event today? Raise your hand. Surprise, surprise. Okay, right? Spend a lot of time on here. Because I know we spend a lot of time sitting in front of a screen, I try and make my presentations very interactive. So I hope you guys are open and willing to actually play together and to learn about this process of ideation. So as Brian said, my name is Leif Hansen, my business Spark Interaction. I have had my business now for about 13 years. And my specialty comes from a field called applied improvisation. And you probably have gone to an improv theater or seen Whose Line Is It Anyway and all that kind of stuff where they're just coming up with crazy ideas and they're creating scenes. Those of us in the applied improvisation world, we basically believe that all of that stuff about creativity and improvisation is really the best way to learn, because you're learning in the moment, it's authentic, you're tapped into your heart, you're being creative, you're being playful. You know, when we were kids, we kind of came out in the world and we were like, wow, well, God, it's such a big, you know, it was like wide-eyed to the whole world and everything was open, and, you know, you didn't know how to walk. And so you're looking at these big people walking around, you're like, I'm going to try and do that. You try and stand up and you fall on your face, and you didn't get embarrassed. You didn't be like, oh my God, did I look stupid? Are these the right diapers? You know, you weren't self-conscious. You weren't afraid of people criticizing you. You just got back up and you walked around, and then you met new people and you started playing with your friends and started making up new worlds and role playing. And, you know, I'm going to be a fireman. I'm going to be this. And there's this stage of so much growth and creativity and fun and freedom. And then what happened? We went to school. No, I was kidding. But seriously, for some of us, right, we got to school and, you know, either our teachers criticized us or our parents did, or our peers made fun of us and, you know, oh, this looks stupid and you got to be in this group. And we started to really shut down. It got really confusing. Like, who am I when I'm with my family, or I'm with my friends, or I'm at my spiritual community, or I'm at the business office, or I'm going out and looking cool and on a Tinder date, or like, it's like, how do I present myself in all these different things? Well, behind all of those masks, though, is still that authentic self, is still, or in a sense, you could say all of those are part of you, right? But something shuts us down. And what we're going to do today is we're going to dive into some processes. I call it play formation. Instead of just information, how does transformation happen? It happens like when we were kids. We played with the information. We interacted with it. We put it to the test. We explored. We tried on different ways of being. And so I call it play formation. Our goals tonight are to have some fun, to make some connections with each other. This is an amazing program that you guys are doing. You guys are going to be the people that are really helping to transform the world, playform the world, you know, and I'm really inspired by the zero waste concept. From what I've heard from Brian. And so tonight's a chance for you to connect, have fun, and learn about this process of ideation. And what is it that helps us to think new ideas and not get shut down? So in the spirit of that, if you don't have your camera on now, I think there's maybe a few of you that don't. And if you really can't or don't want to, or you're busy or just observing, I totally understand. Otherwise, if you can, go ahead and show us your beautiful faces. We would love to see your faces. And I'm going to introduce just a few principles to kind of kick off and create a container tonight so that we can feel safe. But before I do that, one of the things that also helps us to feel safe enough to kind of play and learn is to have some agreements. So I'm going to ask you guys, the hardest agreement nowadays for people when they're in front of Zoom, and particularly younger generations, I find, is, can we agree to not multitask? Can we agree that even though I can't see your hands there, that you maybe don't have other apps going on in the background and chat channels, but that you can be present? That's a gift to yourself to really learn to be present, and a gift to everybody else that's here is to know that you're present. So if you have notifications, you can turn off. If you have apps, you can close down. If you need to kick your little brother out of the room, whatever you need to do to be present, I ask for that agreement. The other one is to just be respectful, treat other people like they want to be treated. You know, the simple golden rule, right? Another one is confidentiality. So if you're, you know, to be safe enough to ideate, to come up with new ideas, means letting go of filters and like, oh, am I going to look stupid? So if you say something, we want to have just an acceptance of who you are. So let's just keep everything that happens tonight confidential. What's another good agreement for us? I usually throw in here. Just to show up with your full self. This is your life. This is your life. This is your time. If you don't want to be here, please do click the off button. We want you here. We are excited to have you here, but use your time well, and use it because you want to help change the world and because you're excited about these projects. And so show up as fully as possible tonight. Stretch yourself some. If you're okay with all those agreements, can you give me 2 thumbs up? Boom, 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 boom. Awesome. Little peer pressure there. I could have said, if you're not okay, give me the middle finger, but I don't know if that's appropriate for this class. So, all right, for now, thank you for the 2 thumbs up and for that agreement to dive in. Another thing to help us is something that there's actually an improv teacher that I've taken classes from back in my early days in Seattle. Some of you may know him, Matt Smith. And Matt Smith has become world famous for this one particular principle. And some people call it the circus bow or the failure bow. Has anyone heard of this before? Is that one of you? Okay. So, or maybe you were just adjusting your computer there, Mia. Yeah, okay. So in a circus, when a clown makes a mistake, they do something very different than what we do. When we feel like we've made a mistake or done something stupid, what do our bodies tend to do? Kind of show me like with your body right now. What do you tend to do? You kind of go, oh my gosh, right? You kind of cover up. You kind of want to like hide yourself, right? Totally. Destin's got it really good there. Nice, Destin. So like when you feel stupid, you kind of hide. But what a clown does when they make a mistake is they go like this. Ta-da! Thank you very much. Thank you very much, right? They just embrace it. They own it. And by doing that, it helps you to not think that failure is that big a deal, right? You guys are into recycling and composting. You know that shit is just poop that hasn't been composted yet. It turns into something good later, right? So these things that we think are failures, that we think are mistakes, they just haven't had the care and the thought process to see how it can get turned into something valuable. So on the count of 3, I'm going to ask us all to give a nice bow and say ta-da. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! Excellent. So if at any point tonight we're doing an activity, you're in a small group and you're like, oh my gosh, I just did something stupid or said something stupid, you can just go, ta-da. Okay, great. 2 more principles, and these all also, as you can probably tell, totally had to do with innovation. One I call the hum. And the hum is a great response to this part of our ego that's afraid of like looking stupid. And it takes ourselves so seriously. Anyone out there take themselves seriously? I definitely do. Even though I like teach people play and stuff, I totally take myself too seriously. Yep. 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay. So the hum is a really interesting little etymological connection between the words humor, not taking ourselves too seriously, right? Humor, hum, humility, and humanness. And actually, I'll toss another one in there for you guys. Humus, the earth. Right? So when you don't take yourself too seriously and you can laugh at yourself, you invite humility of heart and mind. You kind of have beginner's mind and you can reconnect to your humanness and kind of being part of this earth. So if we can all remember the hum at any point, just like tap into your body and the hum. All right, and then the last one, I'll just say something briefly about because it's kind of the foundation of what we're coming back to in the end. And in the improv world, there is a principle called yes and. Raise your hand if you have heard of yes and before. Nice. I'm seeing looks like about half of you guys. Okay. So yes and, most people in the improv, you think of it as just something that happens in improv, right? Someone comes on the stage and I turn to Brian. Brian, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Can I unmute you for a sec? We'll see if Brian will yes and with me. You need to unmute yourself. There you go.
You asked me if you could unmute me.
it did. Oh, sorry. So if I walked onto a stage and Brian was there and I said, hey, Dad, how's it going? Is dinner ready?
Yes, and I need you to go wash your hands or something. I don't know.
Okay, Dad. By the way, I really hope you did not cook hot dogs tonight. You've been cooking hot dogs every night this week. Please tell me you didn't.
Yes, we did. And we have your favorite ice cream for dessert.
Oh, excellent. Okay. So Brian took it wonderfully literally, which is a great way to actually start in the beginning of the yes and, is to kind of even use that phrase. So he didn't go like, hey, Leif, we didn't agree for me to be a demonstrator for a game, or I'm not your dad, or I don't want to look stupid. he went along with the game. And so a story started to be created. Well, yes, and is the same principle that happens in a boardroom meeting when someone says, hey, I've got an idea. What usually happens is someone's like, yeah, but. They'll say, yeah, we thought of that, we tried that, nope. Or nah, yeah, but we don't have enough money. Or yeah, but, or in a relationship, hey, honey, you want to go to the mountain for the weekend? But it's here, it's going to be really cold. So energy just dies. But the reality is, when you can really understand the power of yes and, you can understand, I personally think that the universe started with a yes and. It was the first big bang of a yes and. And if you think about it, babies start with yes and, right? Someone's on a date, something that happens, life happens. Life is created out of that spirit of collaboration. And the simplest way to think about yes and is it's seeing value, adding value. It doesn't always mean that you're gonna say exactly what, if someone says, hey, you want to go on a date? It doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna say yeah, because Leif says to say yes and all the time. No, but it's saying like, oh, this is nice. Someone is bringing a compliment to me in some way. And then you get to decide what your and is. It's a boundary, or let's have a conversation first, or sure, I'll go on a date, or who knows what. So yes and is what brings momentum and creativity and life forward. So that is a little 3 principles there. The hum, the ta-da, and the yes and will help us to kind of like really dive in tonight. So on that note, I'm going to ask you guys to yes and something right now, which is, with your body, make a shape that describes how you're feeling right now. Look around as you see all the shapes. Great. Okay, now make a shape that describes, that would kind of like, that would give you a feeling of what you want to be feeling like right now. If you could invite any feeling in right now, maybe it's like some extra self-love or some focus or whatever, what would it be? I see, yeah, great. I see some chillin'. I see some openness. Oh yeah, some nice ears listening, some shaka love, some self-love, some hallelujahs. Excellent, great. So, some of you may have seen that TED talk where she talked about the when you do take a shape with your body, it literally starts to activate that feeling. It's a fun process for you to do if you do any public speaking, is just to take a shape with your body. But it also gives us kind of a little snapshot of who's in the room. Okay, and now we're going to do our next little ice melter. I call them ice melters. Why do we call them ice breakers, right? If people are afraid, let's break up the ice. We want to melt the ice. We want to feel better, right? So we're bringing in the love to melt that ice. Okay, so here's a crazy thing we're going to do. You guys have 1 minute. Everyone is going to turn off their camera. And in the next minute, you are going to make a hat out of anything that you see in your room. And then turn your camera on when I say on. Ready? Turn your cameras off. Go. Timer's starting. Find an object or 2 or 3. Anything can become a hat. "20 seconds more. "10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Turn on your cameras. Oh, yeah. Oh, you guys are awesome. Oh, my goodness. I think we should just stop the class now, Brian. We have innovators in the house. Nice. Oh, my gosh. What? Justine, what is that? Is that an actual hat, an inverse hat?
It's actually a pillow.
Oh, it's a pillow. It looked like this giant umbrella. Okay. And Alicia, what is that?
Alyssa, it is an
Alyssa's
air
there.
plant.
A what?
An air plant?
Oh, cool. Love it. I just got my first air plant gift last week. Awesome. Oh, you guys look brilliant. I want to highlight everybody. but we do not quite have enough time. Although Spencer, is that a combo blanket and what? Aha, nice. Love it. Good job, you guys. All right, that was some good innovation. You can feel free to continue to wear your hat if it helps you to kind of not take yourself too seriously and loosen up, or take it off if you're like, enough of that silly nonsense. All right. Okay, so awesome job. I think I'm going to keep mine on for a little bit because, hey, I feel extra sparkly. What we're going to do now is I'm going to put you guys into groups of about 3 or 4 and just have a little freestyle conversation around the 3 questions that I am going to pop into the chat. Hold on one moment, please. Okay, questions are, when do your best ideas come and why? What do you think helps people to think of the best ideas? And conversely, what tends to prevent your creative thinking and ideation? So this might be like frames of mind, environments, activities, things like that. So you guys are just going to have a nice little conversation. Make sure, if you're someone that talks all the time, make sure you leave space for other people. If you're someone that doesn't talk much, then I encourage you to stretch out a little bit and give yourself a chance to. Just a second here, sorry. 5, 4. Okay, there we go. Let yourself be heard. Speak your truth. And we'll do this for about, what time are we at now? About 4 or 5 minutes. So, maybe a minute or 2 per person. Any questions about those questions or the process? Got it? Excellent. Andy's like, come on, dude. We understand. Let's move on with this. Okay, great. See you guys in a second. Oop, and I need to remember to take out a couple people. Hold on. Multi-management here. Okay, you know what? For the people who weren't able to participate, just keep your cameras off because I actually can't bring you back into the main room. So you might have 1 or 2 people who seem like they don't care, but they do. They love you. Okay, see you guys soon. All right, welcome back, everybody. We have a couple new people who've joined us.
There they are. Oh, did Dakota and Nate get marooned?
We just had a good little talk, Nate, and then I think Morissette, welcome to come in, and please bring your cameras on if you can, guys. But for right now, let's all help Nate feel at home by sticking our tongue out at him. I'm just kidding. Hi, Nate. I probably just totally alienated you. All right. So how was the conversation? Did you guys come up? What were maybe I can have like a couple debrief representations from some of the ideas of what helps you to think creatively. Anyone want to share? Represent your group.
Sure, I'll go ahead.
Dakota and then Xenia.
Awesome. Sorry to just randomly jump in like that. I didn't know if you're doing popcorn style. So a common feature amongst our group was sort of like the environment/activity levels. So being in a space where you feel comfortable, like with a glass of a cup of tea, or just sort of in a good setting. But also like there was a lot of us said right after like activity, so like hiking or being outdoors or running or stuff like that. Yeah.
Nice. Environmental factors, big time. By the way, I caught you there on that a cup of, we know what you were really going to say. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Xenia, go ahead.
So our team agreed that other ideas inspire us, so we can just translate something into other issue. So we take a solution and we just use it for another issue.
Awesome. Yeah. So get inspired, get out there into the world of creativity and see what people are doing and let that inspire you and kind of borrow and steal and transform. Great. Couple other things. Anyone else want to share what their group said? Mia?
A common theme was being surrounded by people who support you.
Yes, that is awesome. Nothing quite a buzzkill than constantly having a manager or friend or parent or a partner who's like, that's stupid, that's dumb. You know, like you just like, walking on eggshells. Not going to be very creative, right? Be around people who want you to be your magical self. How about a couple of things that you guys shared about anyone get to the like what shuts you down? I was just saying one of them, right? Being around sort of critical people, but what are some other things that tend to shut us down in our creative process?
I can share for my group. We had said that sometimes excess or too much time and like pressures from external factors, whether it's school or work, if that's too like heavy on the load, it tends to like stifle your creativity because you're just executing work for others.
Totally. Love it. One or two others? Yep, Xenia.
We agreed that we limit ourselves. Basically, that's the only limit that we have.
Yeah. So the stories that we have of ourselves, right?
Yeah, and we kind of like limit our creativity, putting it more realistic and kind of like, yeah, don't letting ourselves go out there.
Excellent. I cannot tell you guys over the, couple decades that I've been doing this kind of work that how many people say, oh, I'm not creative. Oh, I'm not creative. Oh, I can't do that. And they've just taken on the story that they got somewhere in their childhood. And what I try to say to them is like, when you go to bed at night, what happens? You make up entire worlds, like entire massive universes and stories are happening. Like every person is a genius, is full of creativity. And a lot of what we're learning tonight isn't so much about what can you learn to do, it's more an unlearning. And like Xenia was saying, it's an unlearning of a story and a limitation you've had on yourself. It's an unlearning of some sort of false possibility and opening up to how much more possibility is there. We have to do that for ourselves. And then you guys are doing that for culture and business systems and ways of doing business in the world. It's a whole unlearning and getting outside of the system that's been limiting us, right? Excellent. Another idea of something that kind of tends to shut you down or shuts the creative process down?
We didn't talk about this in my group, so I can't say that they necessarily agree, but I know for me anyway, sometimes lack of constraints is really limiting for me in ideas. If like the whole world is wide open to me, it's hard to get something going. But once there's parameters, stuff starts happening.
Yes. Beautiful. I mean, that's why we have, when people do paintings, it's like they've got this frame and they've got a certain number of paint colors in their palette. And that's what allows them to have that much creativity. And even in an improv game, I created, even though the possibilities were endless for the hats that you guys made, there was the rule of 1 minute, there was a constraint, and there was a rule of whatever's in your room. If I said, here you go, guys, here's $10 billion and 10 years, come back with the most amazing hat. I mean, you'd probably do some cool stuff, but you'd also be sort of paralyzed, right? There's too much. So constraints are great. Awesome. Sounds like some good discussions, you guys. Good job. Just out of curiosity, how many of you have been on, let's say on a scale from 1 to 5, and put your hand up like this. This is like COVID has kicked my butt. I have been so stressed out. It's been really hard. And 1 is like, no big deal. So on the count of 3, everybody say from 1 to 5, how difficult this time has been for you. 1, 2, 3, go. See a 3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3. Lots of 3s, 5. Maybe a 5 and 4.5, 5. Okay, great. Yeah, it's hard times. And these tough times can be also tough on that sort of resilient kind of thinking. Was working with a very large company a month ago doing an online class about resiliency. And these guys were like, this has been the hardest thing in my life. I've had to fire my friends. Our company has lost 30% profits. It's been really difficult. And so the focus for those guys, and I just want to do a quick little part for you, is really make sure that you're putting a lot of attention on the self-care. Because without the self-care, body, mind, soul, spirit, relationship, it's going to be difficult to follow through with any kind of project, let alone these more innovative, creative projects. So make sure that you're really living a balanced life, that you're getting those different needs met. That's going to put your mind in a state to be thinking creatively. So putting that sort of preaching part aside, take care of yourself, take care of yourself, take care of yourself, and look for the resources that you need. Because what I'm going to move into now, we have all heard fear is the mind killer. Does anybody know where that quote originally came from? Any sci-fi geeks out there like me? Brian, can you tell us?
Dune.
Yes, Dune, which is being made into a new movie. I'm so excited. Or series, I believe, by the way. Yes.
Yeah.
So fear is the mind killer. The problem is when you hear that quote, a lot of people are like, oh no, I can't get afraid. And they're afraid of being afraid. And it's this awful cycle, right? So it's not about not being afraid. It's about your relationship to the fear. Fear is totally normal. Being a badass, courageous person in the world, whether it's in social justice or in whatever way, is not about, you hear the word fearless. And I get the essence of, be fearless. It's cool, right? But you can't be fearless. That's just not how your brain works. But you can be courageous. And you can build up support. And so when you're afraid, whether it's COVID times or whether it's in these processes that we're doing now of ideating, find the inner resources of courage and the outer resources of getting connected to other people that will allow you to arise and meet those challenges. You can go fear hunting if you have enough courage and you have enough support. You can go out there, embrace your fears and hunt your fears. But fear really does shut us down when it comes to creativity. And that's why we talked about those things about humility and just getting past that fear of looking silly and going ahead and doing some silly stuff. So we're going to do actually another activity right now. And can I get 2 volunteers? Maybe I'll just go ahead and actually choose volunteers. Brian, Xenia. We are going to demonstrate. I'm going to throw you guys off the deep end of just having some fun together and getting our minds opened up to new ideas before we actually do some concrete ideating. So little did you guys know this, but Xenia and Brian and I were best friends back in college. And we went on this epic adventure together. And the way this game works is that as soon as you're in a group with your other people, one person's going to say, do you remember when, and anything could have happened. Like, do you remember when we got abducted by aliens? And then Brian's going to say like, yes. And I remember they took us in the ship and there was all those weird devices. And then Xenia might say, well, so we're going to try it right now. Go ahead and put yourself off mute. There we go. Why don't one of you guys go ahead and start it off? Do you remember when? It could be something simple, a vacation or anything.
Do you remember when we were hiking enchantments?
Oh, yes. So gorgeous. I had never been in an environment like that. You remember that, Brian?
Yeah. What I really remember was when we looked down in the valley and saw the bear chasing that naked guy down the trail. Never did figure out what happened there.
That was crazy. I couldn't believe it. I think, Xenia, you got like a video of that, didn't you, that went viral?
Yeah, and that's how I got my first 1 million followers on YouTube.
Oh, right.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, you got really popular, but then everybody was like, more naked bear videos, and you couldn't like come up with more.
Yeah, and it was naked bear, and also a bear got naked. But then I was started hunting other bears and other trips. Yeah, not as successful, of course, as our enchantment trip.
Well, I thought the fake Sasquatch video was pretty good.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, when you dressed up like a Sasquatch was pretty cute.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get the idea, right? Whatever somebody says is now the new reality. So one of you is going to start off and just say, do you remember when? And the next person's going to say, anyone else can just say yes. And they're going to like build off your idea, a new idea, and the story just kind of comes out. Got it? Any questions? Okay. Going to be in groups of 3-ish. Welcome back, everybody. Did you have some good adventures?
Yeah, that works really well.
Yeah, cool. That's the power of yes and, right? Is just like anything is possible. And as soon as you just hear something, it's like, okay, that's now the reality, and stories get built. Okay, so in a few minutes, we're actually going to go into a concrete time of brainstorming for your projects. But before that, I just want to say a few more things about yes and. Oh gosh, I did not source this quote, but I want to read it. Getting bad ideas is actually a sign that you're getting ideation right, because it means that people feel safe enough to give you everything they have. This is one of the rare occasions when quantity actually does equal quality. So in this initial ideation stage, you're not looking for best ideas. That comes later. This is the state of just like, what is possible? And we're going to put a link in the chat for you guys to open up to a little app that you don't have to create an account for or anything. Imagine looking at a board with a bunch of sticky notes. It's basically like that. You guys are going to be putting on these little sticky notes for the different areas, the focus areas that your team has identified, that all the projects are going to go in. But I put an extra focus area in for just ridiculous, crazy ideas. And I want you guys to challenge yourself to try and just put one ridiculous, crazy idea in there. Brian, can you give us an example of some zero waste, ridiculous, crazy idea?
Ooh, boy, a crazy idea. Boy, I think that would be the flux capacitor reactor on the flying car, where you can take waste and just toss it in, and then it turns it into like oxygen and water or something and powers your car.
Awesome.
I would love that.
Or how about like, yeah, houses made of compost. Woohoo. Okay. Maybe that could turn into something. So a lot of things start off as ideas. We're like, oh my God, that's so stupid or ridiculous. And then someone's like, well, actually, what if we did compress compost into bricks that then got, like, who knows, right? What comes out of these ideas. So let yourself be free. And the last thing I want to say is one of the ways to get over fear and insecurity is to recognize is that insecurity means you're away from what's secure. And the opposite of fear is trust. So one of the main secrets to get past, to transcend fear, is to focus on what you trust and love. Do you trust yourself? Do you trust your friends? Do you love yourself? Do you love your friends? Do you love ideas? Do you love making a difference in the world? Then you're not going to give a crap about those things you're afraid of, right? You're just going to go for it. So the way to get past fear is to focus on what you love and care about. Remember the hum. Remember the yes and. The way this is going to work, I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat right now. If you don't have a second window or a monitor that you can look, oh, you already did it, Brian, thank you. It's in the chat now. If you don't have something you can look at, the people in your group can do it with you. You're actually going to see ideas populated from everybody, not just the people in your group. But we want you to be in small groups so that you can kind of bounce ideas off each other, or if someone had a mobile phone or something like that, then you can read to them. They can type in the text box, in the chat box, they can type their idea and you can help put that up there for them. So I'm going to this time have everybody in groups of 5-ish, 4 or 5 people. And we're going to spend the next 3-4 minutes brainstorming. Come up with as many. The goal right now, guys, is as many ideas as possible. And I want to see which group gets the most ideas. So start counting your ideas. Ready, set, go. So as you guys are coming back into the room, for anyone who's watching this later, I'm going to read some of the things on the list. I see in the crazy ideas, I see make homes out of food waste, send a team to the moon to farm a zero waste colony, robot food collectors, trash zapper, make a replica of Hogwarts out of recycled materials. Under prevent food waste and ending hunger, home pickup for composting, create an online website to educate people about food waste, create a restaurant that is zero waste, composting from under sink that heats. Oh, I know, I have an even better idea because I'm going to run out of time. I'm going to do screen share. So we capture this on the video. Can you see that right now, Heather?
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me? Yes.
Great.
Hey, do you know this thing called Jamboard?
I've heard of a bunch of these tools, but I don't know if I've heard of specifically Jamboard.
Hey,
No.
check out Jamboard sometime. It is super cool and fun.
Oh, cool. Okay. Wow, we're already at 8 o'clock. Ah, that always happens to me. Okay. Hopefully people are okay going just a couple minutes over. I'm going to stop the share for a moment. Hi, Spencer. How was your guys' session? You're muted, by the way.
Sorry about that. No, it was good.
So little time. Always need more time.
Always need more time. I actually started with this much and narrowed it down to this much, thinking like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. But no, never enough time.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys okay for, can we go for just 2 more minutes, Brian, or do we need to have a tight stop? 1 more minute?
No, we're flexible. You can keep going. It was just a general baseline. So we have time if you want to stretch it out and if we want to do anything at the tail end.
Great. Thank you. And anybody that really only planned in an hour, we understand. I would love to just kind of have a wrap up. You guys came up with such cool ideas here. I particularly am looking forward to the Hogwarts made of recycled materials and have students attend the school, I see. So give me, if this was like, that process sucked, it was okay, that was awesome. Somewhere between there on the count of 3. Ready? I want to look around in front of the camera. 1, 2, 3, go. Yeah. Looks like we have mostly from here to here. Cool. 1 here. Great. So we got some ideas. Hopefully some of you guys are actually thinking like, oh yeah, I could do that. One fun thing you can do if we had more time, and I'm actually happy to stay on longer if we want, is you actually can vote on these ideas. What you do is you click the sticky note in the bottom right corner. You do the thumbs up. So a process you can do in ideation to float the cream to the top is you can say to people something like, you each get, let's just try this now. You each get 1 vote in each area. Which one? Let's say 2. You each get 2 votes in each area, just in case you're like, I can't choose. You get 2 votes. Another nice thing you can do with this tool, by the way, is you can actually drag a sticky on top of another one if the ideas are practically the same, and it just kind of multiplies it.
Cool.
While you guys are doing that, I'm going to pop another link in the chat. I always like getting feedback to know how I could make it better and what you liked, and also an opportunity for you to say what your main takeaway is that you want to put into action in this coming week, and if there's any way that I can support you. So I'm going to put that link in the chat. There it is. If you've done your voting, you can go ahead and click on that link. It's actually the first time I've created a form through this new app I'm using called ClickUp. So tell me if there's a problem with it. I think it should work. And I'm also happy if there's any questions, you can go ahead and either just stick your hand in front of the camera or click the little hand raised emoji in the reactions, or I think it's under the breakout. And I'm happy if you have a question about the ideation process or anything we did today, feel free to put it in the chat or raise your hand. In the upper right corner of idea boards, notice that there's a tab, a drop down that says sort by. And you can flip that to votes. And what it will do is it will then put all the top votes, as you can imagine, at the top. So our current winner for the revamp our recycling system is product barcodes that tell you best ways to get rid of something based on your location. Oh, that's awesome. And many recycle pickups to commingle everything in one bin, but this is inefficient. We should reward people to sort their recyclables. Yes. How do we reward them? Becomes the innovative question, right? Prevent food waste. Networks that distribute leftover food from events. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and share the screen here in case some of you aren't able to see this or you're watching the record. Networks that distribute leftover food from events and restaurants to food insecure populations. And then we have a bunch of ties there. For eliminate plastic waste and pollution, we have plant-based milk delivery system, glass bottles like in the olden days, with bottles delivered to doors and bottles picked up from doors. And a bunch of ties. And in the create healthy, safe, and responsibly designed products, companies intentionally design products to be able to be disassembled at the end of their useful life and their parts reused. Cool. I like that. Local bottle factories uses reusable. Local bottle factory uses reusable, changeable labels, accept returns, cleans, then provides to end users again with appropriate labels. Awesome. By the way, any ones that you guys put up that have zeros and ones, that does not mean anything except that we did not all have time to do votes. They're all great ideas. Promote sharing, repair, and reuse. Library for tools so all your neighbors can share and utilize anything to be shared. Awesome. And then crazy ideas we have in nature, everything is biodegradable. So everything should be biodegradable. Well, it's actually true. Everything is biodegradable, just that some of them take a hell of a long time to biodegrade, right? Excellent. Anyone want to share either a question or something you noticed about the process or something that has you excited? Curious. Free for all right now. We're in the free for all time. You can jump ship. Thank you so much for coming. Please fill out the feedback form. Brian, although Brian maybe has some final words, but are there any questions or comments from what you notice about this process?
Okay.
I have a question. Thank you so much for your time today, Leif. I'm looking forward to digging into some of these concepts with my team, and I was wondering if there's going to be more structured time provided. This is more for the hackathon organizers, if there's any more structured team time provided, or if that's something that we're expected to find outside of the weekly webinars.
Primarily outside of the weekly webinars, but any teams that want additional support, we were going to hook up with coaches like Leif to give additional time to. So yeah, so this will apply every week. For teams that are looking for a little bit more, let us know. We're lining up coaches in each functional area. So this is kind of a functional area this week, ideation and innovation. Then each of you has a different topical area that you're focusing on. And we're looking for coaches that could give you some guidance on that particular sector if you want it. So we're not automatically going to hook everybody up with a coach for your sector area, because we'd like to get your take on how you think the focus is relevant for you in terms of what you need support on. So we've got a little follow-up that's going to be going out after this. Do take a look also at the materials that went out this morning. The weekly update has a bunch of links to other online resources and tools to help you guys. And I think it's fair to say, Ashley, I can put you guys down for additional coaching on ideation for this week then. Yeah, cool. Okay. Anybody else, if you know right now, just chat me in the chat. Otherwise, you've got my phone, you've got my email. And as soon as you join our Slack channel, you'll be able to Slack me out there on the support channel. So if you hang out on Slack during the day, just log into our space, keep it handy, you know, along with whatever other workspaces you're in. And you'll be able to get to Xeni and I pretty quickly. If we don't get it right away, it means we're literally not in front of our computers at that instant, or not looking at our phone. I keep it up on both all day long. So whenever you guys need support, please reach out. Let me think. Oh, I do have one update for individuals that are still looking for a team. Team Hong Yi is full. So sorry if you were looking at them, they are no longer accepting additional members. If you are an individual who has not found a team and you're getting stuck, reach out to me. I've already been chatting a bunch of you up on text. Right now, we show that there is still a possibility for additional team members on Team Ishmeet, Team Max, Team Planet A, Team Loggers, and looks like the Dogs of Climate Reality might be full up, but I guess it would depend on how they feel about maybe having an extra member. But you've got the matching info that was sent out last week. So again, any questions, just hit me up. I think that's all I have. Xenia, did you have anything else?
Queenie asked if we sent out the link to Slack channels. So we did send some of the individual teams channels, and I'll continue doing that after our call. And I'll send out an invite to everyone to the common Teams announcements channel today after the call.
Okay. All right. So for people that have to bail, they can bail now. And I guess, Leif, if you want to keep taking a little longer, it's all yours.
Destin asked what YouTube channel to use this
recording.
Memoir. You can bring up your onboarding document, and it has a link to our Zero Waste Washington GitHub channel. And we have a separate playlist for Hackathon.
Oh, and you know what? I just realized there was one other question that I forgot to answer that one team had raised in their registration. I just want to make sure all the teams realize this. You can change your idea whenever you want, guys. You're not locked into the idea you registered in the team. Originally, you're not locked into whatever you have today. You might have an idea today and realize it doesn't pan out. You need to come up with another idea. The only time you're locked into your idea is when you submit your final materials and you submit your one pager and your presentation. You can change your idea anytime that's practical up until then. So feel free to pivot if you need to. This is a common thing in the world of entrepreneurialism. Getting ready to improvise your way to the next step. And sometimes you
Speaking
got to
of
take a
that,
step back and come back again. So
I'm gonna really quickly put up one slide that I had thought of sharing with you guys.
oh, beautiful. Yeah.
That is related to what you just were talking about. Some of you might want to screenshot this, or you'll be on the recording. But you know, this is, if you can get outside of thinking about, does that design thinking show up? The slide, you seeing it? Instead of it being a linear process, just recognize that, you know, this first step of connecting with the people and the problem to define it, and then you get to the ideation, and then you start doing it, and then you're like, maybe we need to go back and do some new ideas. And you kind of test it out. It's like, oh, we need to go back here. And then those new, there's a constant feedback loop that's happening that's helping you to better define, better empathize with people, better. So it's not just this one thing. We got the idea, let's go. There's a constant flow in this process. So stop that and wrap up and just say, so just remember, embrace what you can trust and love to help you get past the fears. Remember the humble yourself. Don't take yourself too seriously. Get back to that childlike state of play and creativity and wonder and openness to what really inspires you. That's going to really help you guys in this stage of ideation. And I know that you've got a lot of people on this team that are here to support you. I'm making a few hours available for some free coaching. There's lots of other resources. If you answered the feedback, you'll see I'm available in other ways. I put this little website up here as a new professional development and learning community that I'm putting together, the sparklife.org, if that's attractive to you, if you're at that sort of stage. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for showing up and for trusting me with your time. You guys are awesome.
Thank you so much.
And happy Halloween!
Nice.
Thank you so much, Leif, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Thank
Leif.
you.
Now everybody can see what you can accomplish with Zoom filters. This is your new baseline, what you're aiming for.
Oh no, this is just my true self. You're just seeing my true colors now. I'm gonna put the filter back on. This is just like cleaning me up.
That's awesome.
Have a great week, everyone.
Thank you, Leif.
My pleasure. Receive care. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.